Hello there, and welcome to Real Talk with Angry Soccer Mom. What a day, what a week, what a, I don't know what to say. This week's discussion topics are anything you feel is newsworthy about racism, bigotry, and inequality in America. And I don't think we could have picked a better time to say that's kind of everything at this point, sadly. If you're watching, please say hi. I have a bunch of stuff for you. Nails and glitter, yay! Thanks for being here. Oh, what a day. I want to hear what everyone has to say. The show's meant to be an opportunity for viewers to speak their mind, but also to serve as an educational tool for white folks who want to learn the truth about systemic racism in America. It's way past time that we take racial responsibility. It doesn't mean you have to, stop your day job, and it just means you educate yourself and you start thinking about what's going on and you learn a real racial history. It's not hard to do, just takes a little bit of commitment. So let's get started. Okay, I wanted to introduce myself to anybody who's watching in reruns or new here. My name is Angry Soccer Mom, and I'm really not as angry as I am like devastated. It's more like that. My kids don't play soccer, never have. I don't think any of them have. But I want to introduce myself. If it's your first time, Pat, yay, thank you for being here. If it's your first time watching, please jump right in and say hello. And if you like what you hear or you want to hear more, consider subscribing to my channel and ringing the bell. I make videos all the time. So today's show is your voice, your choice of topics. I always prepare something just in case people don't have anything particularly to talk about. But today, particularly, I have some stuff for you. A few quick announcements. Yesterday's show was, I have to say, thank you so much to everybody who helped. It was a slight disaster, but kind of not. You can check it out on the channel. I'm going to get there. I wanted to thank everybody who attended and kind of salvaged it for me. As promised, each Tuesday is going to be a shorter call-in show. And I'm going to get this, you guys. I can do this. I'm going to get a call-in. And what you have to do, if you want to call in, I'm going to do it a little differently until I get situated. You just come to my Angry Soccer Mom Facebook page, private message me, and I'll give you the number. All right? You might have to prove you're not a troll, but I'm sure you can do that pretty easily. In fact, most people I'll probably just know, because as a lot of you know, I am pretty much off Facebook. I got deleted from the entire thing. So sad to say, I'm going to really count on your guys' help because I cannot advertise for the live shows anymore. Not really, at least. I lost about 50,000 plus people who were my friends and followers, and I'm hoping a couple of them catch up with me, but I got deleted. So I wanted to wish everybody a happy Black History Month. I think it's a very sad, one of many sad things that we have to have one. We shouldn't have to have Black History Month. Black History Month should be every month, just like White History Month. But until we get there, I see a lot of people posting great things about amazing accomplishments, and I'm really, really thrilled to see them. I learn something new every day. This month, I am dedicated to doing 3 more videos on hidden history. It's about 34 different things that in the past year, 34, I had no idea they were history. So I learned something every day, and I want to share them with you so that hopefully we can get them out to folks who need to understand. So if you don't understand our past racial history and how it impacts our social issues of today, then you're making your decisions based on television. You're not making educated decisions about what's happening in the world and why things are happening. And you're very susceptible to propaganda. People just tell you something and, you don't know the difference. But a lot of whitewashed history. So I'm going to try to expose some more. I have 3 videos on my channel that have whitewashed history. And Ali, hello. Thanks for being here. If people come on and they check out the videos and they see this whitewashed history, they don't believe it. If they know nothing of our own racial history except for what they learned in school, they literally do not believe. They think I'm a liar. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. And I always say, just look it up, do your own research. Don't believe me, it's fine, I get it. Go do your own research and you might discover something you can teach me. So I'm really serious about that. So anyway, the Tuesday show was supposed to be a panel show, but what happened was people were just kind of afraid to come on because of maybe they live in a white community and they're afraid of repercussions, which makes me really sad. But you know what? It's our reality right now. So we're having a call-in show on Tuesdays. So bear with me. Invite a friend. If you like what I'm doing, you can really help me by bringing people and introducing them. Some people just listen. Some people jump in and like to talk. And I'll try to read what they say and go on and on. So let's get started. There's no better day to exemplify what we're here for than today. Unfortunately, a lot going down. My topics today are the hidden history of Oda Benga, which I will get into, and I want to know what you think more of that. And some of this is a little bit of review. Our fake State of the Union, the whistleblower. Jamie, hello, thank you for being here. I'm happy to have you. Yay. I've been just swamped this week. The mockery of a trial that we had, and does anyone care about our democratic republic? That's kind of the name of that's what I named it. But tonight I'm going to make myself a little bit vulnerable by sharing something with you that is actually written by me. It's my rant. It's from 3 years ago, just about 3 years ago. And I wrote it one day. Jamie says, the Republicans are a disgrace to our country. Yeah, it's really sad. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Well, when you hear this rant, I think you will understand where I fall on that. It's a letter I wrote to the Republicans, close to when he was elected. And it's a little bit long, but bear with me. I'm going to read it. It's from the heart, so it's a little bit of a vulnerable thing. I will try to read fast, and you can ask me anything you want afterwards if you have any questions. All right? So here's a letter I wrote to the Republicans during Trump's first year of office. And here's the beginning. Almost 1 year ago today, November 8th, 2016, Americans voted for our next president. I watched in horror as my fellow humans voted away their fellow humans and neighbors' civil rights. Was it all for the promise of a few extra bucks, or was it a backlash from having a Black president for 8 years in a nation that, in part, still flies a Confederate flag? Well, we'll likely never know what caused almost solely white Americans to vote for a man with zero political experience and a background plagued with racism, bigotry, inequality, just misogyny, elitism, every ideology that I would hope our nation would be not wanting to stand for. For me, casting a vote for a presidential vote is not about political parties. Sure, there's big ticket items like taxes, abortion, death penalty, but that's never been the end all for me. The way I see it is there are thousands of decisions a president's going to make in their lifetime as a president, and that I will have absolutely no knowledge of whatsoever. So I vote for a candidate who will uphold my personal values in general, not my personal interests, but my values. Because quite frankly, we'll hear a fraction of whatever they do. And so my hope is that they have some sort of moral compass. For me, the only question is, will our next president choose humanism and integrity over all else, even when no one's watching? 1 full year later, I must say, Trump has exceeded my expectations. His choice of profit over humanism and divisiveness over unity, as well as his unbridled racism and bigotry, has been surreal to me. And I kind of knew what he was before. The man has done the impossible. He has made me embarrassed to be a member of the human race. But today, my anger and outrage are not directed at him. And remember, I wrote this years ago. He is but one unconscionable man. Today I'm writing to the people who had the power to stop him, but chose not to. The people who allowed an inhumane, lying, racist bigot, a man with zero personal integrity, to take our country and our nation and infiltrate the highest level of office, a man who lies, and I'm fairly certain doesn't even know he's doing it. I'm furious with the Republican politicians. They allowed this to happen. They gave him the green light to take us back decades. We're lucky if it's decades, when so many people have given so much to our country. Freedom is not free, and a lot of people have the ultimate sacrifice. If they could see him now, they would be so ashamed of us. This country could be amazing. People don't want more than everyone else has. They just want to have equity and a chance. And I am furious about the total imbalance of checks and balances. These Republicans sold their souls to support a monster. Here's the letter that I wrote that night, expressing my lack of understanding, because, see, I have this strange thing. I want to understand. I don't know why. I have this, like, I need to understand. It's like, I don't get it. I don't see how they could let this happen. I guess I'm just naive. So this is about my inner thoughts. Dear politicians who support Trump, and remember, this was written about 3 years ago. I'm writing you today to ask you some really tough questions. But first, I want to start by telling you who I am. When I was a 13-year-old girl, a kid in my Algebra 1 class stole the exam off of the teacher's desk. Every one of the kids took a copy, but I didn't take one. Not surprisingly, the class did great on the test, and all the official grades were handed out, and I didn't do well. My grade went from an A to a B. Now, I was a really shy kid, but I was outraged. I wasn't mad at the people. I was mad at the injustice. I was like barely 13 years old. I just turned 13 that summer. I was shaking and devastated at the unfairness of the situation, that my grade, it was all curved, and my grade went down, and these people got to cheat and get away with it. I wasn't going to turn them in. That was their problem. But I was devastated with the unfairness. So it took every piece of courage I had in my body to meet with the teacher alone in his office. He was a military man, and he scared the crap out of me. I told him what happened, and he said that there was nothing he could do. I told him the whole story. There was a substitute there when it happened, and he wasn't there. And he said, there's nothing I can do. He said, I won't give you an A if you didn't earn it. And that I hadn't earned it. So just as I was leaving, I'm pretty certain I never made eye contact with the man the entire time. He said, let me tell you something. Take the entire semester over next year as a sophomore. And if you get an A, I'll change your grade. So I knew I'd be humiliated. It wasn't a big school. If you took a grade, a course over, it meant you flunked, basically. And I did it anyway. I got an A, and he changed my grade to an A. Now, you may wonder, why is this lady telling me this story? So why am I telling you this story? Am I trying to be a show off and tell you what a moral little child I was? No, not at all. Because I didn't think I was a moral little child. I never thought twice about it. I'm telling you this because I honestly never thought twice about it. I thought this was how people did things. At the time, I didn't think I deserved credit. I didn't think I was especially moral, and I still don't. I just knew that it was the wrong thing to do, and so I didn't do it. I didn't have to work particularly hard at that kind of thing, and I had to work hard at other things like learning. But there was no extended soul searching, oh, what should I do? For me, the ultimate in integrity was doing the right thing when I was 13 years old, even when I really probably didn't have to. I mean, don't get me wrong, the thought crossed my mind of doing it. I knew there's a good chance I'd fail, and I actually kind of did. I did terribly on the test. And that's why, my whole grade dropped on one test. But the reason I thought maybe I won't make it into my college that I want to, my dream college, my white privilege, my dream college. But I knew that my personal integrity at age 13 was worth more than any dream college would ever be. Plus, there was no way in hell I would have gotten away with it. Because you see, unlike the other kids, I knew. I knew what I did, and that's what mattered. High school wasn't exactly a high point of my life. The summer before my freshman year, I was grabbing a pizza with my friend. It happened to be my birthday, just by chance, at a local hangout. And, my parents had moved 6 times when I was little. So I was always meeting new friends, finding new friends, and then losing new friends. And I was very shy. I think I raised my hand once in all of high school. Well, 2 girls approached us. It was pretty much my only friend. And we were very close friends. I thought we were. And 2 girls approached us and they asked us if we wanted to go smoke out. Okay, now that's a antiquated term, but that's what they used then. Okay. My friend said yes, which I was kind of like, I was 13. I didn't, I was like, wow. So she left and I didn't. And at the time I didn't know that this was going to be kind of a turning point in my lovely life, because after switching schools six times, I ate in the library for 4 years in a row alone. And you weren't supposed to eat in the library. I didn't have a single friend. And I'm not saying, oh, feel sorry for me. I'm trying to explain something. And remember, this letter was written about 3 years ago to the Republican senators. Last story, and I promise I will get to my point. Every day at high school tennis practice, my parents forced me to be on the team, as shy as I was. It was traumatizing, but I did it. The coach would have the girls run a lap around the gymnasium, and at every single practice, the moment the coach was out of sight, the girls would pretty much stop and skip about a half mile and run back. And they never quite made it around the gymnasium. And it was a big gymnasium. And you know how I know? Is because I ran it every single time. The coach must have thought I was pretty damn slow. Being dead last for 4 years, that's all we did. That was our warm-up. You may wonder how it felt to be last every single time. And I was enamored. I loved the coach. He was I thought he was the greatest. He was the only one that would talk to me on the bus. He was the only one that was nice to me. And he was one of my math teachers. So he was just so sweet. And he was my only friend. So maybe you think it didn't bother me much being last with all these teenage girls for 4 years. Well, it did. I can tell you right now. The truth is, I really, really liked the coach. And I was crushed to think he must have thought I just was walking. I don't know what he thought. It was just embarrassing. When you're a kid and a teenager, it's embarrassing. I mean, if personal integrity was worth shaving 7 minutes off a run and making the coach look like a fool, that was their thing. I wasn't mad at them. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. Not a word was ever spoken. I didn't tell him to this day. I found him on Facebook. I didn't want to say hi. I don't know. Just a lot of bad memories. And I never told him that the girls were cheating, because it was about me, not about them. I didn't really care if they were cheating. And I never said a word, and I don't know if he ever knew. But you see, I knew. And so I'm writing to these politicians because, see, you may wonder why I want you to know me. Why am I talking about myself? Am I showing off? No, it's not. It sounds like it, but I'm not. Because at the time, I did not know it was anything other than the way you're supposed to act. I really did. I was okay. I was a sheltered kid. What can I say? The reason I'm telling the senators this, and the reason I'm telling you this, and this is, again, the letter I wrote 3 years ago, is because I desperately want to understand who you are, because I do not get it. This was, dear Republican senators, I'm writing to you to ask why. I'm writing to you to ask exactly what would this monster Trump have to do for you to decide that he's crossed your moral line of right and wrong? Exactly what is it that stopped you from doing the right thing the first time you witnessed or heard him do something unconscionable? How about the second time? How about the third? What was it that made you, what was it that made you look the other way? And a naive, very sheltered 12-year-old girl had more personal integrity in her little pinky than an elected politician for the United States of America had in their entire body. I must know. I had to know. Am I just naive? I'm still childlike in my thinking that people and politicians actually care about the people? Is that it? I expected them to have unwavering integrity and humanism. I expected people to revere, and I expected them to serve the people by speaking for the voiceless and standing up for what's right. What excuses or denials Did you tell yourself every time you did nothing when you saw Trump, when you saw him, you didn't stop him from fulfilling the inhumane campaign promises that he made on his own constituents, to his own constituents? What was it about you that made you so incredibly willing to support a hateful, bigoted, lying, elitist, misogynist? I could go on and on. A person's health care, telling people that they don't deserve health care. A man who tried to ban Muslims and take away health care and take away people's money out of public schools, and proposing laws that would target people of color and hurt them, allowing known pollutants back into the air, ending free lunches for poor kids and elderly, not protecting endangered species, calling rape a pre-existing condition while simultaneously perpetuating the rape culture himself and knowing the harm, all the harm he's doing to society. What made you Republican senators so spineless and such followers that you had no backbone to stand up for what was right? Because let me tell you, as an adult watching this, I waited. I waited and I waited and I waited. And I waited. And I acquiesced to the idea that you weren't going to stand up for what's right. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. But I waited because I had hope. Naive, but I had hope. What was the exact price you pay for selling your soul? I hope it was worth it. Will you still be sitting back when you're sitting back in your rocking chair with the rocking chair test as an elderly person, reflecting on what kind of human being you were? Will you be filled with disgust and regret? People who counted on their politicians to do what's right. You failed. I thought politicians were supposed to do the right thing. Sure, you have to make hard choices, and it's not always perfect. It's not always black and white, but I just don't know how you live with yourself. And what on earth do you tell your children? Yeah, I sound sanctimonious, but again, this is a personal letter I wrote to them 3 years ago. I was never going to share it, but I chose to do that because it's who I am. So what on earth do you tell your children? What do you tell your daughters? What do you tell your sons when you talk to them about their own personal integrity and act like a parent? If you just speak the truth, I imagine it goes something like this to yourself. I had the chance to stand up for what was right. I had the chance to stand up for every historically marginalized group that Trump threatened and vowed to crush when he became president. I had the chance to do the right thing, but I didn't. I sold my soul for the chance at keeping power, and I turned my back on real human beings who deserve so much better. Don't tell me you've bought into Trumpism and believe that people who don't have good paying jobs are less, entitled or allowed, or their lives matter less and they don't deserve health care. Don't tell me you truly believe that Muslim Americans should be bullied in the streets of America. And don't tell me that you truly believe that humans who were born in the LGBTQ community deserve to commit suicide from your perpetuation of hatred and the depression that you help uphold in society. Don't tell me you truly don't really know what caused inner city poverty, or that you believe it's really each person's fault. If they're poor, they can just pull themselves up by bootstraps if they have it. Ever heard of redlining? Whitewash history, Jim Crow, black codes, the Devil's Punch Bowl, Black Wall Street? Don't tell me that Black, brown, and indigenous people and impoverished white folks are just undeserving of equality and justice for all. Don't tell me, because I don't understand. And don't tell me I don't understand the pressure of politics. And don't tell me you're not selling your soul, because you are, and you're selling it for a monster. All for the chance at a few extra bucks, and I don't know what else. You had the chance to do great things, to be amazing, to stand up for what's right, for God's sakes, to stand up for liberty and justice for all, to be a hero to the people of our nation, to help our nation reach towards its potential, to be a leader of humanity, not a destroyer. But instead, you chose greed over humanity, power over people. It's your turn. I'm done. Tell me why a teenage girl knew what it meant to do the right thing and you don't. And you're an elected official. Sincerely, someone you helped lose faith in humanity. That was my letter. I know it might have sounded dramatic, but I went back to being that child. When I write, I get really kind of lost in my writing, and I went back to being that child, and I don't understand. I just don't. So anyway, I will say hi to people. And I have a whole bunch of interesting stuff, and I'd love to take your comments. Let me see. Hello, Ghost Killa. Thank you for being here. That was my rant. It was a letter I wrote 3 years ago. Vernon, I hope you're still here. He would have to be a Democrat for Republicans to get. Yeah, that was a very, very emotional letter I wrote the first year he was in office. Because that was the year I went over to a Trump rally. I went over to a Trump rally, and I was taking my child to a birthday party way up north. And there were all these people we were passing, and they had all these Trumps, and they were tooting and screaming and yelling. And I was like, this could be my chance, because I didn't know any Trump supporters that were adamant Trump supporters. This could be my chance. So when our little girl said I couldn't stay at the party because all the mommies were leaving, I was like, okay. I thought, you know what I'm going to do? Hi, Mr. FS Live. Thanks for being here. I said, I'm going to go interview them. Like the total naive idiot that I am, I'm lucky I'm still alive because they carry weapons in that part of where I live. Hopefully it was just one stupid thing that I did. But anyway, I did a video on it, and I was nervous as hell. And I left before I could even ask them the hard questions because they were getting really, really mad. And I thought, I think I'm going to overstay my welcome. So I got out. Sorry for that. I got out and was like shaking. And I was really glad I did it. I didn't get any answers. My video came across as a little bit almost like I was trying to belittle them. And I really wasn't. I just thought I'd have answers. I thought I'd have answers, and I didn't. I left thinking like, what the actual, I was like, I had never met anybody who thought that way. And so it was really good. Tony, I remember that video you did talking to Trump supporters. You looked so nervous. Oh, I was so nervous. I was really nervous because what happened was I had my pride flag out. I was like, okay, and I went up there, and they were right outside one of those, oh goodness, I'm blanking out, one of those stores that's very, run by the Tea Party people. And I was like, well, they picked a good location, and the people were getting more and more mad at me, but I just had to know. And I'm glad I did it. But later on, one of the guys actually came on and said he should have killed me. So he said I had a gun and I should have killed. It was stupid. I was like, okay. But he found the video and he was pissed. But I asked them. So anyway, enough about that. Gus Killa. They don't care about history being whitewashed because it fits their narrative. There's books out there that cost thousands of dollars talking about history. There are books out that cost thousands of dollars talking about history before slavery. I wonder why. Right now in this very, very wonderful era of communication technology, I guess you could say, anyone who wants to know can figure something out. We are so lucky. When I tell my children that I had a thing called an encyclopedia, and I used to have to go to the library every day, they're laughing their heads off. Like, what? So, things have changed a lot, and a lot of it's really good, but a lot of it's really tough. So I'll take any comments. That was very emotional for me. Thank you for making me feel comfortable enough to do that. I made a video last week, or this week actually, on Ota Benga. And I don't know if anyone saw it. I talked a little bit about it. As I said earlier, this month is Black History Month. And although there's been so many wonderful achievements, it makes me very sad that we have to have a special month for people who have been here since the beginning. So I guess that's where we're at. But my hope is that someday every month is Black History Month, and that we're united as Americans. So just the other day, I came across something I never thought I would come across in New York, but you You never know. Don't ever say never. Never say never, I guess, or you should try it sometime. If you were a New Yorker at the Bronx Zoo on September 8th in 1906, you would have been treated to an incredibly novel thing at the Monkey House. At first glance, you probably wonder what you were seeing. Inside the monkey habitat, there looked like there's a man or something. But he's hanging out with the monkeys. He was a man. He was a dark-skinned man with pointed teeth. The new resident of the Monkey House was a Congolese man named Oda Benga. If you weren't sure what you were looking at, a sign was posted that gave Oda Benga's height as 4'11", his weight as 103 pounds, 103, and his age as 23 years old. The sign in the conclusion of the sign said, exhibited each afternoon during September. It's a special exhibit. Oda would play with the monkeys and entertain the crowd by shooting bows and arrows at a target, which he learned how to do in his native country. And the visitors to the Monkey House on the second day got an even better show. Oda Benga and an orangutan were best friends, and they frolicked around, according to the Washington Post. They'd frolic around together, and the crowd loved it. It was so cute, and they'd hug, and they'd wrestle, and they'd tickle and play because they were buddies. But the exhibition didn't last long because Black clergymen in the area of New York City were very upset seeing this display of a human being being placed in what's essentially a cage at an exhibit at a zoo. They argued, and I quote, "We think we're worthy of being considered human beings with souls." Oda Benga killed himself 10 years later. He shot himself through the heart. And this month being February Black History Month, I wanted to tell his story to whoever would listen. So that's why I did a video on him. Every person counts. And that's it. So I wanted to tell you that story. Have you guys heard it? Does anybody already know that? I didn't know. That really hit me. As I said earlier, I'm going to do 3 more videos. They're going to have probably about 10 each hidden history facts. And I'm not trying to be so negative by doing only hidden history, but over the past year, I have just discovered so much hidden history. And it matters. Because if you don't know what happened in the past, then your opinion of what's happening now is ahistorical, for one, and very, very naive, ignorant. So the past isn't just like a separate entity. It happened, and there's no cutoff point, which the past doesn't matter. The past impacts the present in very, very strong ways. So there's too much hidden history. Mr. F. Black, it's a tragic story. Yeah. The people in the newspaper, I read about 4 articles on it, said that it was poetic in a very sick, sad way that he shot himself in the heart on purpose. He wanted to go back to his country. He was humiliated. He was humiliated. And so much more. I don't know much more. I read a bunch, but anyway. So, Mr. F. Black, you should look up the story of the Muse brothers. Oh boy, another one. I will. Everything that people tell me, I learn from people who watch me, my friends like you, and I write down every single one on the list, and then I research it and try to find my way with it, and then try to put it down into 2 little seconds of intense life for the video. I wish I was a better writer, but oh well. Thank you for that. I will. There's so much hidden history. I want to reveal it. It's just really important to me. So my other thing I have prepared, if no one has any questions or comments, is the State of the Union. Now, yesterday I had a little bit of a joke of a show, but I thank you for the people who were there to support me. You guys are amazing. It was really tough, but I promise you, Tuesday shows are going to be Colin, so help me God. But I have to get a tin can and sorry, I'm losing it. Nails and glitter and the Native American the Native American boarding schools, the Mexican Americans. Oh my God. And a lot of people are, angry soccer mom. How could you reveal all this? You're so negative. Actually, no, I'm not negative. They don't get it. By revealing hidden history, it helps explain what's going on today. If you don't know, then your opinion is basically, no offense, but it's just kind of like an opinion of somebody who doesn't know anything. I'm learning tons and tons every day. I'm not an authority on this. I'm learning as I go. But they're still finding nails and glitter. They're still finding tiny skeletons. Yep, they sure are. And every time something's revealed and people understand what it was like. You see, part of the thing is a lot of folks don't understand that when people do bad things, they don't want to tell about them. They like to keep them quiet. They know they're doing bad things. People aren't, that ridiculous. So the history can easily be swept aside and lost. And it has been. And it's hard to prove. And there's a lot going on. Sometimes I have to call the African American Museum of History and, I always forget the title. I literally have to call them because I can't tell what exactly is right. And I'll take their word as like the final word. But that's how hard no one wants to share a history that's barbaric. So last night, Trump gave his State of the Union address before Congress, and it couldn't have been more ridiculous due to his altered reality, like this kind of like altered reality that he seems to live in. I think few people would debate that our nation and its people are divided. Congress reflected this bitter division by their unspoken gestures, signaling the most extreme decisions and divisions I've ever seen in my life. It's like, if you're against having an immoral, lying, racist leader in our federal government, a man who's narcissistic, don't make me say it again, bigoted, delusional, to say the least, it's disturbing. Trump spoke to the nation for the State of the Union just hours before he was going to be acquitted from being impeached, from his impeachment allegations. And the implications of this vote, which would have been to take him out of actual office, it's forever altered our nation's stability and status. I'm not a PhD historian, but I have a little brain in me. We're no longer a democratic republic, exactly, when the president of the United States has overreached his power and destroyed the system of checks and balances. And he's still going for it. He is still going for it. Ghost killer. They found a little black boy mummy in Egypt a while back. Wow, a little African country. Wow. Explain more. Explain more, because you're laughing and I don't get it. And it's sort of interesting when my little girl is studying ancient Egypt right now. So we're reviewing everything. Tony, Nancy Pelosi was hilarious tearing up those papers while Trump was talking. Yeah, she's got some guts, I'll tell you. I thought so too. I was like, damn, it's nothing I could have done, but wow. She does not take shit. I mean, it's interesting. But yeah, it was, Tony. Totally. I think so too. To put it bluntly, our president's above the law. When the president's above the law, it means he's allowed to do whatever he wants and get away with it with no consequences. That's not a democratic republic. It's like dictatorship, I guess, or he has a bunch of people who support him and are terrified of him. I guess, what is that, you guys? A crazy oligarchy? I just call it a dictatorship with a clan that supports him. But the tension in that meeting, the State of the Union, my God, the drama, Trump and his drama. The State of the Union, tension started almost immediately because Trump, and if you didn't watch it, which a lot of people didn't watch it, I actually watched clips of it. I couldn't take it. It started immediately because when Trump appeared to purposely, Nancy Pelosi reached out to shake his hand and he dissed her, and it's just so ridiculous, but it really is fitting of him. I just hope people don't go down to his level, kind of, because a lot of people think the Democrats and the Republicans are the same. And I think they all have a lot of problems, but I think it's more like the difference between, well, I don't know, I was going to give a bad analogy. I don't think they're the same. I see some strong nuances in there that make a huge difference. And Pelosi tweeted, I don't know exactly when she did it, Democrats will never stop extending a hand of friendship to something about, I actually misquoted it, a job well done. We work to find common ground where we can, but we will stand our ground when we cannot. So she tweeted something like that. After Trump finished his address to the nation, like Tony said, she was so funny to me because it was she lifted it up and she ripped it. And I mean, it was just such a camera throw. It was awesome in a really funny sort of sad way. Like, wow, to this. Later, when she was asked why did you rip it? Why did you do that? She said it was a manifesto of mistruths, which kind of wasn't news to anybody. Trump had a number of TV moments, one of which was disgusting to me beyond words. This is called real talk. It's not called say stuff to make people happy and feel, really good about life. It's called real talk. And Rush Limbaugh got awarded. It's a real TV moment. He got awarded the Medal of Freedom Award for being a conservative talk show host. Well, if you know Rush Limbaugh, which I don't, I mean, I've been around, I've seen him. He's known for being a, disgusting, racist, sexist. I mean, he's just over the top. It's not even funny. And I think he's pretty serious about it. I don't think he's joking around. I could be wrong. Trump played to his base, and he showed us that he's going to make this prestigious award. I mean, prestigious award. Let me take this further. And he give it to somebody who is an incredibly hateful person, cruel, and perpetuates cruel hatred. I mean, it's not even, I didn't even want to talk about it, but yet here I am. So yeah, he's showing the world and the United States and everybody that hate is here to stay with him around. Here's a list of other people who won that honor. You aren't going to believe it. Medal of Freedom Award. Helen Keller, Neil Armstrong, Jackie Robinson, Mother Teresa, Rosa Parks, Pope John Paul II, Maya Angelou. Let's think about that for a minute. It's beyond disgusting. During the speech, Republicans applauded at every point they could. Well, most of the Democrats kind of sat there and stared in silence. Trump was criticized for using the State of the Union as a campaign rally. Let me see. Representative Hoyer, who's a Democrat from Maryland, went very public and said to people after the State of the Union, he was hoping people didn't lose their minds, basically, and they weren't distracted by the lack of factual accuracy, the divisiveness of the speech, and the blatant appeal to use his speech as a campaign rally. I mean, I think we all expected nothing less, but I'll take some comments. Ghost Killer. I'm just saying they found blacks buried in Egypt, African country. I keep telling people those so-called Arabs invaded Africa for 600 AD. Those Sudan people are the real descendants of Egyptians. I don't know a lot about that history. And I want to know tell me your end game. What is it that's happening that you want people to know that you think they don't know about that? If you can. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but teach us. Teach us what you think. And everybody's going to vet it out and write and look it up and, do research on it. So that can be expected. But what do you guys think? We have a president who's above the law. What are the next steps? There's roughly a gazillion things could be impeached again for. Do you think the country is going to vote him out of office? Or do we love our racism so much that we're just going to go with it? What do you think? I want to know what you think. I think he will be president again, personally. I don't want him to be. Uh, he's very, very bad for our country. He's circumvented the Constitution. He's done a power grab. It might be too late. He's destroyed with the help of others. It wasn't just him. Anyway, I think so too, sadly. Yeah, Tony. Yeah, what does everybody think? I won't hold you to it, I promise. I hope he's not, but I think we enjoy a less educated populace, and there's a reason. Because we can manipulate them. And as my friend Michael always says, thinking hurts. And you know what I say to that? Do it anyway. He doesn't say, no, don't do it anyway, but I say do it anyway. And that's something I've written down. And when I met him, he said, thinking hurts. And I was laughing because that's one of the titles of a chapter in his book. And I was laughing. I was like, I just put that on something. Thinking does hurt. It's so much more fun to just kick back and do nothing. But that's part of that problem. If you do surface level thinking, and that's all you do, that's how you get Fox News and Trump. It's really sad. One of the first videos I ever did was on the climate, on climate change. And I really wasn't used to doing videos, and I think I probably will never be used to doing videos, but hey, here I am doing them. And I was laughing my head off because I'm reading, I did a ton of research and a lot of articles, and there was an MIT guy who did a bunch of research on climate change, and Trump quoted his research, but the conclusion was wrong. Trump misquoted the opposite. I mean, he literally misquoted this man who had done research. And of course, the guy's like mortified, like, oh my God, Trump honestly doesn't understand, unless he's like a really good actor or something. He doesn't understand climate change. Like, he's always going, oh, it's so cold out. How's that climate change? I mean, it's embarrassing. And people might think, oh, he's just playing to his base. But I honestly think he's not just playing to his base. I don't think he's that good of an actor. I mean, I think he might think that. I'm just saying. But anyway, does anyone want to make a comment? What do you think? I want to know. My next topic is that of the whistleblower. What do you guys know about whistleblowers? It's kind of a cute term. We have this whistleblower statute, and it exists to give incentive to people who are coming forward with allegations of wrongdoings for government. And all it is for government investigators to examine it. They don't have to be right. I mean, it makes it so that they have a way to basically keep corruption. It's another check and balance to keep corruption out, so that you feel there's not going to be, revenge taken on you. So this is supposed to get people to feel comfortable being honest and doing the right thing. And so if the government concludes there's like a good reason for the person coming forward, they'll pursue it. And if not. The whistleblower who opened this up, they did their duty as an American. They did nothing wrong. And I know a lot of people just don't get that and never will get that. But our government isn't meant to be corrupt. I don't know a lot about our founding fathers, but I do know one thing. They really, really didn't like corruption, in the sense that they had just had this king who was just doing whatever he wanted. They really built in a lot of things to stop corruption. And even though the whistleblower statute is relatively new, it's an extremely important part of our checks and balances. And this man, woman, whoever it is, has met his match. They did their duty. So why do you think Trump and his clan are so bent on this whistleblower? And I made up 3 or 4 things. And Ghost Killer, I'm going to get back to you. I'm not ignoring you. I promise. Just want to end this segment. I think he needs to set a very strong precedent saying exactly what will happen to you if you open your mouth and tell the truth. That's what mobsters do. That's what people do with their power. So I think that's definitely a reason. Intimidation and a diversion. He does love his diversions. That's what he does. And also kind of a play to his ignorant cult following. I'm sorry. Common sense has left the nation. Or people just don't care, or I don't know. I have no answer for it. But the whistleblower law is there to act as another check and balance in the federal government because of the high chance of corruption. Because you get a little wealth, you get a little power, and woohoo, you get tempted by some things, and it makes sense. So that was my thoughts on the whistleblower, and I really would like to know what you think. So if you're watching this in reruns, tell me what you think. Here's the thing. Trump's MO appears to be circumventing the law and finding a way to somehow get around the law. And this is the same thing. He's, like a mobster kind of like does. I mean, that's just my take. Nobody, I didn't like read this. I'm not quoting anyone. He just, he's basically like that TV show with mobsters. Anyway, I'll take some comments. Let me see here. Ghost Killa. I want people to know the history about Africa and African people. Most Euro people that lie, they lie about Egyptians being Caucasian, don't know shit about African history. Yeah, when I was little, I was raised not to think they were black, but not to think they were white either. Like I didn't know. I wasn't like I wasn't raised by my parents that way. But school, they didn't make it clear. I remember in school thinking later, well, it seems like they would be black people, but then I don't remember anyone ever teaching me. And I know a lot of the artifacts that are found are painted over white. And I read an article in the Washington Post on that. And then when they chip it all away, lo and behold, it's the real skin tone. So we got some serious BS going on. I get the feeling every single year of every month we're going to learn more and more and more. Right. Like Cleo. Let me just read. Thank you so much, Ghost Killa, for adding to this. They say stuff like the Egyptians were black Caucasians. What does that mean? I can't make this up. Richard actually said that. That's kind of weird. I've never even heard of that term, but I mean, I don't know a lot about this, but I do know I am a white person. And I do know a little bit about being white just because it's kind of how I was born. But let me see. This is great. Michael, welcome to the show. And shalom. Salam, my Gentile sister. Cute. Ghost Killa says, right, Tony. LOL. Michael, the ancient Egyptians were black, and so were their slaves. The 12 tribes of Yisrael were also black. Thank you. And that's a part of history that is like one of my worst points. So anything people can teach, you'll get vetted on this show. People will tell you if you're wrong, probably after the show. But jump right in. It's not just for me to spew my opinion. I want to know what you think. Yeah, that is really sad. I actually remember not being taught that they were black, but not that being told that they were white either, but just not. It was kind of a non-issue. Like, I guess I kind of assumed when you're a white person, you kind of assume white's the norm, that everyone's white. And if you live in a really white area, it's very easy to do. Just you're the given. Most white folks don't even look at themselves as belonging to a white group. It's a very foreign concept to a lot of us. And it's really upsetting because it's an entirely different framework. Think like I belong. I don't have any, I'm just, the norm, right? And everyone else is an other. Very easy to do. So oftentimes when I get beginners who want to learn, when I say white people, they flip shit. They get really upset. They get really, really upset because they're like, it's just so, don't say white people like that. And I wish I had another word for it that was less offensive to them, because I don't want people to like not want to listen. But people get really mad if you use the term white folks. So let me just keep going. Yes, you got caught. Oh, black and white are bad. Okay, gotcha. Black and white are bad words for people, I guess. Yeah. I know words morph and they do matter. One time, I have to admit, one time I pointed to, oh my gosh, I pointed to a kid doing gymnastics to another mom. I'm like, it's the kid right there in the red. They were asking me a question and they're like, where? And I said, the black little girl. And the lady flipped out. She goes, oh, don't say, she actually said, don't say that. I'm like, I was like, damn, if only I could record this. This is so classic. And I don't blame the lady. She literally was ignorant to the point where she goes, don't say that. And don't say it so loud. And I said, why? I said, if you are a person who's brown, black, indigenous, you know who, you know it. It's not like you don't know. And so it's just, the whole thing's ridiculous. It's made up. It's a made up term, but unfortunately, it's what we use to, talk. And maybe someday it won't be necessary. But this lady lost it. Like my heart was pounding. I was like, God, what did I say? It was unbelievable. That's how uncomfortable people are talking about racism. She went on to say to me, I thought, I got to delve into this. Tell me about her husband. I said, so is your husband really racist? And she goes, oh, not at all. He uses the N-word all the time, but he's not. And I was like, eyes like okay, there we are. So I've talked to a lot of white folks, and that's pretty extreme. It just happened to be an extreme example that I needed therapy afterwards, because I didn't realize, I didn't know people were that, like, yeah. So, and nobody knows her, so I can, she didn't get it. Justin, everyone has a God-given nationality. Explain. It's also a class or status symbol. Tony, I skipped you by accident. Like the Bible, everyone appears Caucasian in the movies, TV. Yeah. Things are getting better, I guess. But still trying to get, a white person to play Cleopatra. It's kind of embarrassing. It's really sad that this is even an issue in 2020. But yet here we are talking about it. That's why I do the show. I don't do the show to espouse my opinion so that I think I do the show so that maybe, just maybe, I do it for a lot of reasons. One person will see a white person talking about race, racism, inequality, economic inequality, bigotry, religious inequality, whatever, and go, she lived through it. I'm dead serious. She lived through it. Well, she lived through it. She didn't seem like she couldn't talk about it. So I want somebody to see me talking about racism, because white folks are so afraid to talk about racism, and nothing is going to get better until white folks get their ass in gear and start taking some racial responsibility. Now, eventually, black folks, brown folks, indigenous people, they don't need savior, us as saviors. Oh, no, they don't. They're saving themselves. But I personally believe that you don't just sit and watch your fellow human have problems and say, meh, I was born into this. So who cares? It's sick. I mean, do you teach your kids to walk by somebody being bullied and go, not my problem? I hope not. Well, white folks, and it's not completely their fault. It's not a guilt thing. It's not a blame thing. We're segregated. We're segregated pre-64. We're segregated to the point where most white folks don't know a single person as a close friend who's not white. So, and if they do, they'd have to be close enough to actually really talk. So, I mean, we have issues. There's nowhere to blame. It's educating and drop the defensiveness. We didn't do it. But now that we're here, don't just sit and watch. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Don't just sit and watch. My God. So anyway, I will read. Let me see. Goskilla, a lot of American white people are Anglo-Saxons. The Romans enslaved Anglo-Saxons and plenty Northern Europeans. Michael, check out Ronald Dalton Jr.'s, new movie called H2N Part 1 and H2N Part 2. It says YouTube user name is, and you're going to put it on there. Okay. I will. And like I told people the other day, I am so excited and nervous. I am so honored. I'm going to get to be interviewed on Philip, on the man who does the, oh my God, I'm like losing my mind. His name's Philip. I know who he is, but no sleep. The diaspora, and he is really, really nice. Really, really nice guy. Yeah, Philip Scott, thank you. I knew he is, like, I always forget about his name because I'm always like staring at him because I'm listening. He's so calm. I don't know how he stays so calm. Maybe I just haven't seen enough shows. Is he always calm like that? But anyway, I get to get interviewed on there. I'm thrilled and excited. No clue what he's going to ask me, but I'm game for anything because I don't really have any secrets, at least that I know of. I don't have any secrets that I know of. So yeah, thanks, Nails and Glitter. Oh, I need sleep. I'm really losing my mind. Anyway, Hebrews. Yeah, there's lots of. Thank you, Michael. I absolutely will. Let me see. Yeah, thank you. African Diaspora News Channel, and he does like a lot of stuff. He's everywhere. It's insane. He's really amazing. I saw something he was doing something the other day. He interviews people from all over the world. It's really cool. I thought I saw you on his show before. He had Dixon White on there before. Oh, Dixon is one of my very close friends, and Dixon is the one who encouraged me to do videos a while back. I met Dixon completely by chance a bunch of years back. I was running. Oh, that's so funny. And I'll have to look that up because he's done so many things. I did an interview with Dixon. I thought he did such a great job with the interview because, I mean, we've been out of touch since he's been married and stuff, but that happens. But when I interviewed him, yeah, Dixon's awesome. Since I knew him so well, I could just, we talked on the phone for hours and hours, and I knew him before he was married and everything, and he is just such a good man. He's a really great person, and he told the entire, check it out if you can, his interview, he tells his story, and it's really, and I don't have a story per se. I was raised in the age of, I don't have a story like that. My parents never used the N-word once in their life. They pretended they didn't see color, which is what white folks did at the time. My dad worked for 5 years, maybe the last 5 years of his work was at Martin Luther King Jr. Hospital. My parents have never said a nasty thing about a person of color, a Black person, a brown, an indigenous, an Israelite, a Hebrew, not one. But I still have implicit bias. I still do. I want to get Dixon on here sometime to do a live show. He said he would. It's just, he's like so busy and everything because he works full time too. So he's super busy, but he said he would. But yeah, he's been incredible to me. Cool, Guskilla. Awesome. So yeah, Dixon's hardcore. He's funny, and he had to do something that I didn't have to do. I mean, I check myself constantly, trying to figure out like where my implicit bias is and but he was raised racist. Okay. as a norm. And that's coming from like A to Z. I was raised as like, don't tell, don't, I was raised in the era of colorblindness, that I don't see color. My parents literally never said a single word to me about the shades. Now, that being said, my very white parents had friends of every shade, but they didn't say anything to me. So stupid, silly little me thought that was normal. I just thought that was normal, that that's what everyone did. I was a slow learner as a child. I kind of still am, but hey, what can I say? So it's kind of interesting. Being secluded and white really does make you not know anything. It's like, really, if you're not like this extreme academic and don't continuously read and you kind of just, you got to figure it out. I think most white folks figured out in college, and it's too late. We need to educate white folks so that they don't continue the cycle of racism and raise children that are racist. And that is a gift to your children, as well as the right thing to do. A gift of allowing your children to have a happy life, because I don't care what people say. There is no way overtly racist people are happy. I don't believe it. I don't buy it. I'm stubborn. What can I say? There's no way that they could be happy being, a piece of shit and a horrible person to their fellow humans. I just don't. I'm not buying it. Let's see it. Okay. Ghost Killa, awesome. Thank you, both movies. Oh, okay. Michael, thank you so much. Both movies are awesome and amazing, and HC Part 3 will come out in June. Okay, awesome. I'm going to check it out too. Tony, he recently did a video saying white people are calling him a race traitor. Yeah, are you talking about Philip Scott? Because somebody actually came on our show here, our little live show, and said Philip Scott is I get called a race traitor all the time. Which whatever. It's so, I don't want to say it's funny, but Dixon White. Oh yes. Oh yes. He gets called. He like, I get nothing compared to what he gets. I get stuff, mostly like womanly stuff, like, I hope a black man goes and rapes you. I get a lot of that, just from like really overtly racist people. I get a lot of, actually last week I got a couple, I won't get into it, but I had to call the police. I've got a couple of very, very real threats that I actually had to, the police were really good. Interestingly, they were really good. They absolutely took it seriously. And I was happily surprised. But yeah, Dixon, until I got kicked off Facebook, I edited for his page. He just gave me carte blanche to put anything I wanted, and I did. Now I can't even get onto Facebook. They deleted my accounts. But he used to tell me, because I could see, since I was an editor, some of the stuff people did to him. Oh my God, they are evil. Because what people do is there's no real argument. That's why I say I won't debate a Trump supporter. One of my videos, I start out, what am I going to say? You're an asshole. What am I going to say? You're an immoral person. It's not about politics. It's not about policy. It's about our fellow humans. We're on this earth for such a short amount of time. I just don't get it. Why be cruel and evil and rotten? And why? I don't get it. And maybe I never will. Ghost Killa, those people calling you a race traitor are fools, still believing in white men built everything. Africans taught those fools how to build. Yeah, well, here's the thing. The first thing when somebody says, I'm a race traitor, I just feel sorry for them, kind of, in a weird way, because they don't understand race. It's like, at such a fundamental level, it's not, I can't help them. And not like, I'm this savior doctor, I'm going to help white people. But if a white person wants to learn, I will learn with them. I will do whatever it takes. When I ran my little group, I had a group of 5,000 that was very, very personal. We had 10 admins. They were all trained phenomenally. They were all people in different various groups, members of various groups that have been oppressed and marginalized historically. And I loved that. And people would send me preschoolers, and they would call me they would call it the preschool, because the people would get kicked out. Like maybe 3 years ago, basically groups weren't going to put up with any shit from white folks or from anybody who was, dissing people in historically marginalized groups of any type. And so they'd get kicked out, and a lot of them were being jerks on purpose, but there was no real place to go. Once you're booted out, you can just go. And so I would say to all the people who ran groups, send them my way. And it was really cool because, some of them were too far gone. I mean, I say they're not ready. It's really scary. But I got people whose parents were Klan. I just tell a really, really fast story. Oh my God, I'm probably gonna lose everyone in my audience, but I don't care. I'm like, this one lady we got came in. She was an elderly lady, and she came in, and she's like, "What is this white privilege stuff?" And she goes, "I don't see color. That's ridiculous." And I was like, okay, because we could take people in and work with them personally and help them move along as long as they were trying. And she was trying, and she was really older. And she told us about her background and everything. And she stayed in for about a year, and she would say, "I don't see color, and why is that bad?" And she was all over the place. And she sat, and every day she'd read, and she'd comment once in a while. A couple years ago, she wrote to me personally and said, I love this story because it was just so classic. "I'm sorry, Kim, I have to leave the group because I can't take these newbies. I just can't take them. They're talking about, I don't see color. They're saying they're in such denial. They're saying, what's white privilege? I don't get it. That's stupid." And I was like, okay. It was just so damn nice for me. She clearly didn't remember how she used to be, but before she left, she said her nasty neighbor used the N-word, and she wrote a big paragraph telling how she finally found her voice and went and told that lady off. And remember, this is an older woman, much older. And she said she was so proud. And everybody in the group wrote like a really nice compliment, like, "Oh, we're so proud of you for, finding your voice." And because that was my big thing, is educate yourself to the point where you can talk about it, and don't just do it when you see it. Practice. And so she told us what she did, and I was just like, so she's my star student. And if I help one person, just one person, to get this, that's my life's complete. I'm not a savior, but I'm a human. And I love that story because it just made me so happy, because her parents were Klan-like. I don't know if they were in the Klan, but Tony, they don't like the fact that you're speaking the truth. Remember, the truth hurts. Oh yeah. I get mostly stuff like, "You're disgusting, you're old, you're ugly." Like stuff like, "Oh, now I understand. Thanks." Like, they don't talk to the point. Like they don't speak to the point. They speak to me. I'm like, when did I say I was supposed to be pretty? When did I say I was supposed to be young? What the hell? That's not the topic. So they're like off topic. They're trying to like, yeah, they're racist because I'm not young enough. It's like, what the hell? So I kind of laugh. But yeah, we get some pretty crazy stuff. Really crazy stuff. Let me see. Looks like we might get one right now. Hot take: the Democrats are ruled by wealthy urban America's managerial and cultural elite to keep the non-whites poor. Whoa, just a second. And cultural elites to keep non-whites poor, liberal arts degrees majors in line, and commies in line. Interesting take. You should talk to Nails and Glitter. It sounds like you, yeah, we got an order of operations going. And if you were here earlier, online complainer, it's cute. If you were here earlier, you'd hear me saying, a lot of folks do tell me that heard this over and over again. There's really no difference between the Democrats and the Republicans in the sense of, and people who are Black tell me this. I've never had anyone who's not Black tell me this. Stevie, hello, thanks for being here. Yay, I'm happy to have you. So yeah, they say they're all the same. And, who am I to say they're not? I know I'm not living in America I'm living as a white person. I will never know. No matter how much I study, no matter how many PhDs I get, I will never know. I'll learn till the day I die because I won't know what it's like. And that's just a fact. Okay. Michael. No, my gentle sister, you have been blessed. True. Michael, are you talking to Nails and Glitter? Let me read. I didn't read it. True Israelite, so-called Neros. So you also will be blessed by the Most High. I'm not sure if you're talking to me or not. I cannot tell. So tell me more. Oh, me? Like me? Oh, thank you. You're very sweet. I just don't know much about that. And I've tried. Uh-oh, we're getting some people. Let me see. Okay. Thank you so much. I can tell that's a compliment. Thank you. Let me see. Stevie, so they acquitted the orange bastard. Of course they did. They sold their souls and lied. And you know what, Stevie, if you have time, at the beginning of this, I actually got very emotional. It's the first time ever. Not that I've gotten emotional, but on, a live show. I read something that I wrote 3 years ago about how I felt about this. It was just more like, my own little diary. And I guess I read it out loud and it kind of elicited a lot of emotions because I don't understand. I'm not perfect, but I don't get them. I don't get them. So I wrote a really long thing and I would love it if you would read it or actually listen to it because I kind of blab on. But yeah, I talked all about it. Those are the same, Mike, Ghost Keller. Those are the same fools that get mad when they see Black men dating white women. Who cares who dates who? Let people be happy. Right, exactly. I'm like, that is so, it's terrifying to me, to be honest. When I see people who are that petty about it shows such a fundamental misunderstanding of science, of humans, of sociology. I mean, that's terrifying when people are like that. I mean, that's Klan talk. The number one, I watched an interview with a Klan member, and there's an order of operations they have for who they hate. And they say, now obviously in practice, it depends, but number one on their list was race traitors. Race traitors were number one. They were ahead of Black folks. Lucky us, which I think speaks to the ignorance. It's just out of control. It speaks to, scary. So anyway, I'm laughing because I should be crying. It's like, oh my God, it's terrifying. Because it's kind of putting history and science and just coming up with some crazy way to be. It's so scary. Nails and Glitter. I can't stand the Republicans or the Democrats. I know that. And we've had some nice conversations about it. And a lot of people feel that way. You're not the first. Stevie, Nails and Glitter, they're both hypocrites. Yeah, it's really same here, Tony. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. Kimberly, that's me. Okay, all praises to the Most High Yahweh. I'm just saying we are the real bloodline, DNA descendants to Abraham, Isaac. Oh, excuse me. That means I'm supposed to go to bed. I'm losing it. Sorry. Startled me. Sorry to interrupt. Isaac, Jacob, and you have been blessing the Most High Yahweh's chosen. Oh, okay. I gotcha. Thank you for teaching. I have a lot of learning to do. and not enough time to do it. I'm always, and when I was, before I was cordially had my ass booted off of Facebook completely, all my groups and pages and everything, I get tons of people giving me stuff constantly to look at. And I was just inundated. It was really hard to keep up. No, nobody loves me. I can do my own research. I'd like to say the Republicans are openly racist and the Dems are still in the closet. Yeah, I've heard people say that. I think Marianne Williamson did a real solid for the idea that she really pushed for people she forced the Dems to put reparations on the table, at least with a policy in name. And I don't know what their hearts are. I don't. Nobody does but them. The Republicans, I know exactly where their hearts are. Unfortunately, Trump promised to pretty much further oppress. Can't think of any groups that he didn't promise to harm that already marginalized groups. So he said what he was going to do, and he's doing it. He's not a liar. He's a sicko. I mean, he lies all the time now, but I'm just saying he is doing what he promised. This is what he campaigned on, being a sicko, being a hater of humans, and kind of makes sense if you know anything about the Central Park Five, what he did to those kids, now adults. He is a very, very bad man. I don't know how else to put it. First thing I learned about him, when he started running, I just knew he was on that show that he tells people you're fired. That's all I knew about him. And I knew he was like arrogant. And I'd heard a couple of interviews here and there. But when I looked, the first thing I looked up, I'm like, who is this guy? Like, why would he be running? The first name, I don't know how it happened, Central Park 5. And I'm like, what's that? And this was a long time ago. And I was like, whoa, it's a couple of years ago. And I'm like, no way. He did that? He put his own money into trying to get these kids killed? You're fired. Yeah, you fired. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. Okay. I was like, they were children. Oh my God. So I ended up doing, one of my first videos was, I just lost myself in what he did to these kids and their families. And then he's a power freak. Yeah, I think he has, a serious psychological disorder. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying he kind of, I'm not a psychiatrist or a psychologist. I don't have a PhD in psychology, but I don't think it takes someone to have that to know that he has he's some sort of personality disorder. Something's very fundamentally wrong with him. It's really sad. And I've heard a lot of psychiatrists say that. And I don't say that to be mean and name call. There are legit disorders of mental health. And you can't, for personality disorders, you can't cure them, but you can work with them and you can get somewhere. It's not inevitable that you're, a jackass or whatever, just very, very hard socially. And I mean, obviously his narcissism and his inappropriate, cruel behavior has been, everyone's been a code to him. His whole family clearly just says, oh, we love you. It's really sad. And he must be like this all the time, because I don't know. I'm not as, you can only go as far as the best practice sciences there are. Right now, for personality disorders, there is no cure, but certainly you don't have to do what he's doing. So just saying. Let me see. He said, you're fired, and you're dead. He did. Standing under that. Really? That is, I just know he was like, I remember he was like really, really mean guy to people, and he liked to fire people. I was like, and he also liked to talk about how great and how rich he was. Well, as a student of martial arts, and as a person who has like some common sense, if you have to talk about how great you are, maybe you're not so great. I always tell my kids, you show how great you are. You don't talk about it. If you have to talk about it, then maybe there's something going on. But that's just my take. But anyway, yeah, I wish him no harm at all. I want him out of our lives. I have nothing bad. I don't wish him harm. If he was stranded, about to fall off a cliff, I would do everything in my human power to save him. I will not stoop to his level. I'm not trying to be sanctimonious about this. I want him out. He's destroying people's lives. He's a cruel, sick man. But I don't wish him harm. He needs help, is all I'm saying. I mean, I know people won't agree with me, but he needs help. I'm sorry. That's just how I feel. Yeah, the more you say how great you are, the less it's probably true. And definitely it's the worse you feel. People who feel good about themselves don't have to be arrogant. It's just a psychological given in my mind. Tony, honestly, I don't believe he is worth billions, such a liar. Well, it's kind of interesting. This is a great conversation because I love that people are, yeah. I mean, there's kind of some behavioral tenets, and I'm a behavioralist. Like, that's how I studied in school, and that's how I learned. And I really believe we're, kind of animals, and that makes sense. But what happens is there are certain patterns that we have because of that. And sometimes patterns are revealing. And people who have to constantly talk about themselves and how great they are, it's not rocket science. They don't feel so great about themselves. I mean, that's just kind of a given. And he is constantly, I mean, it's over the top, but we've all normalized that. I can't. I don't know why I can't. Every time I see him and hear him, I'm like I just can't even believe it. Every time I hear him say something ludicrous, I'm just like, what the actual, oh my God, I still can't believe it. I'm not sure why I can't normalize it, but I can't. Still, every time I'm shocked, just like the first time. Maybe a little less, but pretty close. Let me see here. Yeah, what I was going to say, Tony, was that people who are hiding things and not wanting, I mean, this is what I said in one of my videos. I said, I do not want any witnesses, and I do not want anyone to speak. Said no innocent person ever. I mean, it's just, give me a break. When you are innocent, if I did something, people think I did something, and I know I didn't do it, I am going, you saw me, come over here. I want witnesses. I want people talking. I want people, defending me. He's like, I don't want anyone to talk. I mean, it's so obvious. He's just classic. But yeah, no, I remind people when there's a McMartin case of I was a teacher for a long time in California, and there was like his taxes. Absolutely. It's because the truth will come out eventually. We're going to have years of fun with this guy if he doesn't destroy our nation. And anyway, I won't get into that, but yeah, I was a teacher during that era, and there was one horrible case of a horrible child abuse. Well, that put every single person on the chopping block because these are children. And so what I did was, and I'm not saying, oh, I'm so great, but I understood the plight of these parents are like, oh my God. And you kind of think, who's doing this? If they got away with it, it was they were doing terrible things to the children. And it was a huge case back in Los Angeles. So when I taught in LA, I taught in Compton, Unified, for a couple of years during the LA riots. And I went the opposite way because I said, the teachers were really not happy with me, but because I set a precedent. But for me, I said, anyone can come in my class anytime they want. Anytime. I mean, also they're not coming with like a band and disrupting. I say it's an open, there's nothing, I have nothing to hide. Come in anytime, just sit in the back and listen. And that is normal. It's like a normal way. When you're doing nothing wrong, you don't fear people knowing. I think this is like kindergarten. I'm like, sorry, I'm not trying to belittle people. I know you guys know this. Michael, shalom, salam to Kim and the righteous remnants of the Hebrew Israelite, Miss Facha, and to the righteous remnants of the Gentile nation, be blessed. Thank you. I'm so happy you were here tonight. Thank you so much. And before you go, I wanted to quickly tell you, if you're still here, I keep forgetting to tell this, the Tuesday show is a call-in show. It's going to be a call-in show, so help me. Okay. And I have a phone number, but because we have so many trolls, I can't give it out because I don't have a way to check right now. So what I'm thinking is, if you want to call in on the Tuesday show, I would love it. And I know your usernames and I know who you are. Get a hold of me on my Angry Soccer Mom page on Facebook, and you can personal message me, and I will say hello and be thrilled, and I will give you the number, and you will have it. Because on Tuesday, my hope is that it's just people call in and actually, like, enough with my voice. I originally wanted them to be here and me to be in the little corner. You know how you can do that? But people are too afraid to come on, and I get it. I mean, it's pathetic. But my friends who are Black, Brown, Indigenous, Israelites, Hebrewites, people of mixed heritage, I don't know if any white folks are afraid. Maybe. They're afraid to come on. And that is the reality of 2020 in the United States of America. And it's not just from one city. I have a cross section, I had 5,000 people in that one group. I became very close friends with a lot of them. And everyone's afraid. And that's pretty pathetic. 2020, welcome to 2020. He's outdone himself with his leadership and hate. Let me see. But thank you so much. I'll send you a favor. Perfect. Awesome. Good night, Michael. Thank you for being here. Really, really pleased to have you. You can teach us. Good night, everyone. Thank you, English Mom. I enjoyed the conversation tonight. Thank you so much, Moppy. You're awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I really don't have a ton. I can save it for next time. Unless anyone has anything to say. I have a ton of things left, but nothing too pressing that won't be here tomorrow. Cute. Nothing that won't be here tomorrow. If you have any suggestions for videos, like I said, for Black History Month, I'm putting out 3 more videos that are going to be top 10s of hidden history. A lot of you guys will know a lot of it, and some of you guys will be like, wow. I just keep collecting it all, learning about it, writing about it, cross-checking it. And I'm going to do hidden history this February, and I have it all written out. I just have to do it. So Otabenga was my first kind of warm-up. A young man who was placed in the Bronx Zoo, which I talked about earlier. Really, really sad. He ended up killing himself. So we need to know what people in our past did so we can understand how it impacts our present. So thank you so much to everybody for being here. If you do come onto the Tuesday show or this show ever, say hi to me. I'm thrilled to have people. And, oh, Anton. Hello. Hello, hello. I want to know what you think. And until people start getting comfortable, good night, Tony. Until people get comfortable or like feel safe, we'll just do it by calling. I get it. I mean, we'll do it by calling. Okay. I want people to see everybody talking about racism, bigotry, economic inequality, everything, and living through it in a mixed setting with people who don't look like you, don't pray like you. It doesn't matter. We're all humans. So enough of my like kumbaya. Okay. Glad to have. Yes, I'm so sorry. Anton. I'm really sorry about that. So I will hopefully see you next Tuesday. If you want the number of how to call in on Tuesdays, and you're not a troll, no, we're not having any of those trolls. Please just get me. Hello, Fadine Rose. Welcome. Hello. Just get me on the my Facebook page that I'm kind of barely on because I got kicked off of Facebook. Grab me on there, PM me on my Angry Soccer Mom Facebook page, and tell me who you are. I'll match your name and I'll give you the number because I want people calling. And I'm just blabbing now. If you feel like I do and agree that it's way past time for white America to learn our own racial history and to start supporting real equity and speaking the truth and standing up against systemic racism. For God's sakes, people. It's been hundreds of years. We need to evolve as humans. It's all made up. So I'm going to say goodnight to everybody. Thanks for being here. It means the world to me, right? Don't be a stranger. Now that I'm off of Facebook, well, I'm all alone. Thanks for coming and thanks for being here. And I will see you, hopefully, online or on the Tuesday show. Good night, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, Mr. FS Black. I'm really excited about them. They're just sitting right there. I'm ready to do them. Good night, everybody. Thank you so much for being here.